Hey there, welcome back. So, we are going to continue our Agent Blue tutorial series. And this is the final episode in the Agent Blue series. And we're going to do what we have done so far. We are going to follow a few more tutorials from the NESmaker forum. One of those is something called Hide Behind Tiles. And the other one is a simple pause script. So you can press the start button to pause the game. So, first things first. Hide behind tile. What's that? Well, let's take a look at this drawing that I made. So here we have the player object, and here we have a tile. So sometimes it's cool if you can have the sprites hide behind a tile, a certain tile. So we want this guy to be able to go behind this tile, like that. So we can just see part of the player sprite in this case, because he's hiding the bottom half behind this tile. So that's the first tutorial. So let's take a look at the tutorial. The tutorial. It's made by All Darn Davy. This is another very talented guy on the NESmaker forum. He has made a lot of super cool tutorials. So, Hide Behind Tile. It says it's for version 4.5.6, but don't worry, it works great with 4.5.9 as well. So, he is telling us to first of all make a tile. So let's make a new tile. So let's open up our Agent Blue NESmaker folder, and let's go to Game Engine Data, Routines, Base 4.5, Game, and Mod Metroidvania. Remember, we are using the Metroidvania module. So, in this case, the Mod Metroidvania folder does not have any tiles folder. So let's just make a new folder here and call it tiles. And let's go into our new tiles folder and let's make a new file. I'm just going to make a text file like this, and I'm going to call it Hide Behind, and I'm going to remove txt, and I'm going to write ASM instead. Do I want to change the file format? Yes. So now I have a new assembly file. So I'm going to open that in Notepad++, and I'm going to go back to the tutorial. Whoops. There we go. So the code for the tile itself, it's really simple. It's just this part. So let's copy that. Copy this first part and paste it. I'm just going to write a comment here at the top. It says hide behind tile. And I'm going to paste the new code in here like that. And I'm going to save it. So that's my new tile type, Hide Behind Tile. And I'm also going to do this a very tidy way. So I'm going to go to NESmaker, Project Settings, and Tile Types under Project Labels. And we have, there are just a few free tiles left. So I'm going to use tile 13 for this. And I'm going to call tile 13 Hide Behind Tile. And let's not forget the most important part here. Script settings. Let's go down to tile types here. And remember, this was tile 13. So let's go to tile 13. Let's go over to the right. Base 4.5, Game, mod Metroidvania tiles and hide behind. Double click that one. So now we actually have a new tile type in our game. Just a quick comment. You may have noticed that some of these here in script settings have this blank file attached to them, but yet they are actually tile types. So not every single tile type by default has a script attached to it. So the way that works is that, for example, in the physics script, a lot of these tiles are hard-coded into the physics script. So that's something just to keep in mind when you're working with tiles. So even though they say blank here, they aren't really blank. Alright, so back to the hide behind tile. We have tile 13, hide behind ASM here. So let's close project settings. And we're not quite done yet. We have our tile, but we need to do something more. So let's go back to our tutorial here. So, as usual, if you're doing this in a project, in a serious project, a game that you're developing, please make sure you make a backup first, because we are going to make some drastic changes to a few important files here. So, for example, the next one, actually, old Don Davy tells us to back up our old do draw sprites file. Now, as I said before, this is just a test project, so I'm not going to do that in this case. But we need to change the do draw sprites. Alright, so I'm actually going to do this without doing any sort of I'm going to be very careless about this. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing, this whole block of code. It's quite a lot actually. Whoops. So there we go. Copy this whole block of code to where it says then make a new copy. That's something else. But just make sure you have this code block selected under where he's talking about do draw sprites. So let's copy that, and I'm going to go back to NESmaker, script settings, project settings, script settings, and I'm going to go all the way down to do draw sprites, handle drawing sprites. So I'm going to edit that one. So, as I said, this is really careless. Normally you would make a backup of this file, but I'm just going to select everything, delete, and I'm going to paste in this new code from old Don Davy. Alright, we have pasted in the new code, remove the old code, paste it in the new, and I'm going to save this file. Okay, so now we have a new do draw sprites file, or a modified do draw sprites file. Then he says make a copy of bank 18 MeSpace. So when he made this tutorial, he made it for the MeSpace module. This works great with the Metroidvania module as well. So let's just go to bank 18. So let's go to NESmaker, project settings. Let's go to the top here and find bank 18. That's this one. So select bank 18 and click edit. So now he says copy this code into it, and like before, I'm just going to do this the real easy way. easy and careless. I'm just going to copy this whole thing. So let's see. There we go. Copy this whole code block. And back in NESmaker, project settings, I'm going to click edit on bank 18. So select everything, delete, and paste in the new code from the forum. And I'm going to save this. So basically now we have a new Doodle sprites file and a new bank 18 file. They are modified versions of the default ones, but yeah. And we also have this new hide behind code for the tile itself. So that should be it. So let's test this out. First of all, let's just see if the game works or if we broke something. So let's see. Well, it's working. And I have my rain enabled. I don't want rain now, so I'm going to disable this rain effect. Let's see, do I have that? No, whoops. Yeah, so I don't have a rain effect on the other screens. Okay, so anyway, now I'm going to go to this screen just to the right of our slope screen. So I made two new tile types, or two new tile graphics. One that looks like this. It's supposed to be some sort of fence. So this is just to show you how this hide behind tile thing works. And I also made this other graphic. I'm going to choose the gray palette for that one. So something like that. Alright, so right now these are just normal background tiles, right? So I can walk in front of these. They are just part of the background. But if I go to collision over here on the left, I'm going to choose my new hide behind tile type. I'm going to paint these this fence with this new tile type, and I'm going to paint the hide behind on these as well. So now this part and this part is hide behind tiles, which means that I should be able to go behind these graphics. So let's see if that works. All right. There's our sewer, there's our slopes. Now, sure enough, and as you can see, in this case, the player sprite is partially visible. You can barely see him behind there. So the thing is with the hide behind tiles, it hides the sprites behind any color besides the transparent color. So since I painted, when I drew this tile, I used black around here, so that's the transparent color. So it's only going to hide this sprite behind these gray lines. And this I painted with only yellow and brown. So the sprite is completely hidden behind these. So this creates a pretty cool effect. But you might have noticed something here. If I just jump up a little bit here, maybe you can see it, but just as I jump up from the fence, the sprite is actually behind these lines, these background lines as well. So that's because we can't just hide part of the sprite like that. The problem here is that half the sprite is behind this tile, the other half is here. So it's going to hide the sprite behind everything that is not transparent, the transparent color, until he completely leaves this tile. So by the time he gets up here, for example, then he's going to come to the foreground again. So I don't know if you can see it, but right now we are behind these background lines. But up here we are completely in the foreground. So this is just how this works. So in order to make some sort of workaround for this, we need to paint the areas around with a black tile. And I'm just going to use this old trick by holding down my 6 key on my keyboard. Holding down my 6 key to draw completely black tiles. So I'm just going to draw black tiles around the areas where I have this hide behind tile thing. Something like that. So now there are no tiles next to the hide behind tiles that have any graphics. All these tiles that surround these are completely black or transparent, the transparent color. So now, if I test my game, let's see. Let's see. So now, if I just jump just above the fence, there's no weird effect that the player is going behind these lines. Same here. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're designing levels with this hide behind tile thing. That unless you absolutely want that sort of effect, I recommend having just transparent tiles, black tiles around the hide behind tiles, so you don't get any weird effect, an unexpected effect. So now it looks more natural. I hide behind this fence, and same thing here. So just a little quick simple way to hide our player sprite behind a tile. Alright, so let's just continue and let's take a look at our other tutorial. And let's just give a shout out to All Done Davy here, because I think this is really cool. So the other tutorial is made by 9Panzer. So this is so super simple. This is the PostScript. Simple PostScript for the Metroidvania module. And the only thing we need to do is to make a new input script. So let's go to our Agent Blue. our NESmaker folder. And game engine, game engine data, routines, base 4.5, game mod Metroidvania. And let's go to the inputs folder. And I'm just going to right click, choose new text document. And I'm just going to give this a name, simple name. I'm just going to call it pause. And I'm going to remove txt and write ASM instead. So I'm going to open that. And I'm going to write a comment. Pause input script. So in my pause input script, I'm just going to do it really simple. Just copy this code right here. Copy this code block. Paste it in my pause input script. Save it. And I'm going to go back to NESmaker. I'm going to go to scripts, input scripts, and I'm going to go to base 4.5, game mod Metroidvania, inputs. And there's my input script. So I'm just going to double click my input script. And now I need to go to the input editor. And this is going to be for the main game state. It's going to be the start button. But I'm not going to run this script when I press the start button. I'm going to run the script when I release the start button. If you read the tutorial from NESmaker, he actually says here that like he says here, for whatever reason it doesn't like push. I think the problem is that when you push the start button, it's going to run this script several times, because even though you press the start button really fast, the NES is a lot faster than us, so it's just a quick tap is going to run the script several times. But when you release it, that happens just once. So that's why we are assigning this script to release. So when we release the start button, that's when the pause script is going to run. So make sure you have game state main game, you have clicked the start button here, and choose release for that. So the script to run is of course our new script here called pause. So select pause and finally click add script. But there's one more thing we need to do. We need to make a user variable called pause game. So let's just copy this pause game here. Copy. Go back to NESmaker, script settings, user variables, add, and let's paste in this pause game right here. So now we have a new user variable just for this pause script. And that should be it. Yep, that's it. So let's test that. Let's try to pause our game. I'm going to do a really quick test here. Just going to jump in mid-air. I'm going to pause in mid-air so you can see that the game is actually paused. There we go. And if I press start again, then the game resumes, just like you expect. So that's great stuff. Just a very simple simple way to get the pause function in your game. It's going to pause all the enemies and everything that's going on here. So, very cool. So, thank you NESmaker for this very simple tutorial. Okay, well, you know what? That's it. That's it for today. So, now we are done with the Agent Blue series. I haven't quite planned the next series yet, but it's going to come in the near future, maybe sometime next week. But I hope this wasn't too... I didn't go through this too quickly. So, but anyway, I'm going to link both of these tutorials in the description, so you can follow them there if you want. But anyway, have a nice day. Bye bye. Just one more thing before we go. So I forgot something about the hide behind tile. There's a little issue to keep in mind if you're using this. So let's go to the screen where we have our hide behind tile. So now everything's working pretty well. The problem is if you put the hide behind tiles right next to a solid tile. Let's try that. Let's just make a solid part here, like that. And let's make sure that we paint those with a solid collision. So now you can see we have solid tiles right next to this hide behind tile. So what happens if you do that? Well, let me show you. Let me run the game again. So if we put a solid tile right next to the hide behind tile, then this happens. So now I'm hiding behind the tile, no problem. But when I press against the solid tile, so I'm just gonna keep walking right now. So did you see that? When I'm behind this tile and I hold right, pressing against the solid tile, then the player sprite comes to the foreground again. Only when you press against a solid tile like that. So there's not really any great fix for that. It's just something to keep in mind when you're using these hide behind tiles. So the best advice I can give you is to design your level around that. So if you can, then it's best if you can avoid having a solid tile right next to the hide behind tile, because if not, you're going to get this effect. So that's just something to keep in mind when using hide behind tiles. Alright, that's it for real this time. Bye bye.